Feel me like a Hellcat.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's the Ephexis here. Just continuing with the Trials of the Blood Dragon once again. And today I was looking to probably talk about E3 a little bit. I know a lot of you will have watched E3 and you'll all have ideas of what games you're looking forward to or what games kind of looked slightly more ridiculous. I'm not going to say that Trials of the Blood Dragon wasn't one of them. That was quite possibly the most awkward sort of part of the Ubisoft conference. I know they're usually quite awkward anyway, but yeah, that was interesting. So yeah, at E3 this year there was a lot of really good games, or at least what I would count as really good games announced. And obviously some that have been in the making for a while that we were aware of. Obviously one of the major ones that I noticed was the Death Stranding, which is the new Hideo Kojima game with Norman Reedus. Originally when I saw the trailer I thought maybe they were going to continue with the Silent Hill game that they released the playable teaser for. Obviously that was scrapped, I believe. That was meant to be Hideo Kojima and I think it was Guillermo del Toro. They were meant to be making that sort of Silent Hill horror game. So that's kind of what I thought it was going to be originally, but it looks like it's a completely separate IP. But as with all sort of Hideo Kojima things, it does look a little bit sort of out there, but I'm sure it'll be really interesting to play. One of the other things as well was Detroit Become Human. Again, I mean, I don't know whether you guys have played either Fahrenheit or Heavy Rain, but it did look a lot like those to me. The whole sort of multiple choice, sort of quick time story driven games. I absolutely loved Fahrenheit or Indigo Prophecy, I believe it was called in the States. That was one of those types of games that kind of just stuck with me, and also introduced me to Theory of a Dead Man, the band. That was featured quite heavily in Fahrenheit, and that was a win-win. So Detroit Become Human does look kind of like a mix between Fahrenheit and Blade Runner, with the sort of AI, sort of cybernetics, things like that. So that does look like it could be quite fun. On top of that, they're sort of redoing the Elder Scrolls, which I'm not really sure why they picked Skyrim, considering it's a fairly recent game. I can maybe understand them going back and maybe redoing Morrowind or something like that, but it's obviously not my place to say. Clearly the game developers have ideas of what they want to do, and I'm sure a lot of people are excited for it as well. I think most people have either played Skyrim to death or have 2 or 3 copies of it from various sales and things like that. So yeah, that it could be interesting. The God of War game, the sort of origin story looked absolutely amazing from the gameplay trailer and everything that they showed. So I'd be quite interested for that. I'm just trying to think what else there was that sort of stood out. So there's Lawbreakers, which is the sort of Overwatch Team Fortress style game, done by Cliff Blazinski's new sort of company, that does. Yeah, again, I mean, it looks interesting, but whether it will take off with so many of these types of games on the market, it can be a matter of sort of oversaturation. So that it could go really well, but it just depends whether it can compete with the sort of the already placed competitors that are out there. We finally got a release date for The Last Guardian. I know that game has been sort of going or teased for years now. So the fact that we're actually getting that will be pretty sweet. Mass Effect Andromeda, the Mass Effect trilogy. I mean, BioWare did a really good job with that up until the end of the third one, and I know a lot of people agree with me on that because, well, there was a lot of outrage about the Mass Effect 3 ending. I'm sure most of you are aware of that. So much so that they even went and did the extended edition so they could sort of go into a bit more detail and go over some of the information that people felt was missing from the ending. So I think Andromeda is meant to be sort of completely separate from the whole Commander Shepard story and everything, so that should be quite interesting as well. On top of that, there's the new Quake game. Obviously Quake you can't really go wrong with. There's not much to say on that one. Resident Evil 7, it does look like they're going back to an actual horror game rather than a sort of action shooter. The past couple of Resident Evil games, I felt personally, have just been more shoot absolutely everything. There doesn't seem to be much of a horror vibe to it. And obviously that's what Resident Evil was known for. You know, you think back in the day when it was out on the PlayStation, the very first one, just when you first saw that zombie and it turned around and you pretty much had to run, but with the camera angles and everything how they were in that game, it was quite difficult to do so. And if you ran past the windows, obviously the dogs jumped through, and they made it an actual scary game, whereas the 5th and 6th seem to be more of, you know, just shoot absolutely everything. Just it lost that sort of spark that made Resident Evil, which was a shame. But I mean, I still played them, as did quite a lot of people, but it just didn't hit the mark as well as the other ones did. So hopefully with the Resident Evil 7 game, they do take it back to being an actual horror, because I think that would be fantastic. And I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that I really sort of am looking forward to. State of Decay 2 did look quite good. I'm not 100% sure on if that's just going to be an Xbox One exclusive or whether that'll be one of the ones coming to Windows as well. But you can't really go wrong with a sort of zombie survival game. Most of them are really, really good. And on top of that, surprisingly, Watch Dogs 2, I suppose the first Watch Dogs trailer looked really good as well. And then the game came out and there was quite a lot of disappointed people out there, so hopefully with Watch Dogs 2 they rectify that, because the premise of the game was fantastic. It's just the execution of it, not so much. It felt quite clunky. I know, obviously I'm in no position to judge. I don't understand specifically what goes into making these games and how difficult it can be, sort of fluid motion, things like that. But as someone that's played the games, obviously I have my own opinions. Everyone does. Everyone's entitled to that. So obviously don't take offence if you really liked it. Brilliant. It's just it didn't quite hit it for me. And I suppose the last thing would probably be a guilty pleasure, and that would be Yooka-Laylee. It's essentially a modern day Banjo-Kazooie, and yeah, again, I mean, as in the last video when I was talking about the N64, Banjo-Kazooie was probably one of those big games that stuck with me from playing that. I remember spending countless hours trying to beat the last boss in Banjo-Kazooie because I just couldn't get the Jinjos to help defeat her. So I think the same idea. I mean, it's just a simple, friendly platformer. It's colourful. It's simple, but I think it would be just, I suppose it's kind of got that sort of nostalgia type thing where it takes you back to, I suppose, a time when it was just a little bit more about having fun. There wasn't as much attention on like extremely challenging or sort of focusing too heavily on one thing or another. It was just, enjoy the game, do the puzzles, turn yourself into a washing machine if you want. Just completely random but fun. Also, I do apologise for the video today, specifically the fact that pretty much all the tracks that I did today were massively failed on my part. I don't know what was going on. I just kept crashing it into absolutely everything. So obviously once this playthrough is done, I will probably go back and try and get an S rank on all the tracks. It's just the sort of completionist aspect for me. But as it stands, it was just for a sort of playthrough that I did this anyway. So yeah, the video itself is almost coming to an end here. So once again, I just wanted to say thank you for everyone that's subscribed so far. Thank you for everyone that's been watching the videos. If you've been enjoying them, fantastic. Just let me know in the comments or leave a like rating. If you want to see more videos in the future, subscribe, and it really sort of lets me know that people are enjoying the videos and want to see more of them, which is fantastic. Otherwise I'm just making these videos, and I mean, I don't personally mind because I enjoy playing the games. I don't mind recording them, but if other people can get some enjoyment out of them as well, that's brilliant. And I suppose lastly, in some of the upcoming videos, it might not necessarily be the trials, but I'm just looking to sort of vary what's sort of discussed on the channel. Just maybe change the gameplays a little bit or change the style of commentary. I'm going to try and do some live gameplays as well, just for the reactions, things like that as well. And ideally I'm hoping to do some more co-op stuff, because at the end of the day, playing games with friends is just so much more fun, and you get the sort of friendly banter, the back and forth, things like that. So once I get around to doing the GTA online, I think that'll be really good and really enjoyable in terms of viewing and creating. So I think that'd be awesome. So obviously when those are done, I'll get them up on the channel. You'll be notified if you're subscribed, and I do think you'll really enjoy them. But apart from that, as always, thank you once again, and I do really appreciate everyone here that watches these videos. So I hope everything's going well for you and that the life's good. But I'll leave it at that today, and I'll hopefully see you in the next video. But apart from that, take it easy guys, and look after yourselves.
Da 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 da.